William Byron is going to victory lane for the 5th time this season. Him and his team basically just locked up the regular season championship. Not much to talk about, just another road course, but the playoff situation, because of William Byron's win, has now become that much more critical as we head to Daytona.
Wynn's gonna punch his ticket to the championship four.
Got him this time. Oh, he turned it!
No! Make room! Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt. There's another 7-time champ. By Logano, maybe no! Kenseth takes him out.
Using lessons learned from his father to go from 6th to 1st and score the victory in the Pepsi 400.
20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. 3 flags in the air.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. My name is Cameron Simpson. Thank you all for being here tonight and sticking with us. And we're talking all things Watkins Glen and everything that happened at the Glen today, including Chase Elliott, who looked promising, looked like was going to be the one to win the race. And it just didn't happen. And I said it last week, I don't think that 9 team will go to victory lane this year. At least it's not going to happen before the playoffs. I just don't think it will happen. They have been too inconsistent for anyone, I think, to consider them being that championship level team. They have not been the #1 team by any stretch of the imagination, and today proved it as they were knocked down because of, frankly, a mistake, a huge mistake that came from the top of the top. This mistake was because of his team, and it was an error that is going to be hard for him to forget. I can about guarantee that. Let's first start and talk about the winner, William Byron. I think a message was made today with William Byron's win. He won this race. This is his 5th win of the year, and I think a message was sent to the field that William Byron can win anywhere. He's not in a slump. I did the math. He's averaging a win every 7 weeks right now, which isn't spectacular, but he's still averaging a win every 7 weeks. He's still on the verge of going to victory lane every 7 weeks. Almost every weekend you have that 24 team as a threat. And the summer hasn't been very great for the 24 team, but the summers are never good for William Byron. That's no excuse. But the beginning of the season was fantastic, and road course track, there's only one of them in the playoffs. So I don't think it's as huge as the statement as some people are saying. It's a win. It's at a road course. We only have one of them in the playoffs, so it's not a huge deal. But remember in the beginning of the season where he was dominant on the 1.5 miles, the bigger tracks. We have a lot of them on the schedule. So I'm looking forward to seeing what William Byron can do in the playoffs. He also I'm pretty sure he locked up the regular season championship with this win. I don't see how it's not in the bag for that 24 team. It's an incredible win, and basically now that's 15 more playoff points that go to them and their team. It's huge. Those playoff points are bigger than anything. 15 playoff points for you and your team, that's humongous. That team will absolutely cherish those 15 playoff points, no doubt about it. I would be shocked if that doesn't help them a lot. You look at Kyle Busch, and you look at Denny Hamlin, they were all trying to get those 15 playoff points. Neither of them could. So a huge win for that team. It was big. It was very big, and congratulations to everybody there. They did a great job, and it was a big win for that team. I want to shift gears and talk about the playoffs, because that's where the big story is. I know we normally go to the results, but I want to start with the playoffs, because that is where the big storyline is. Look at this. The 2 drivers, because of the winner today, locked themselves into the playoffs. Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick, which means that the bubble sits like this. Bubba Wallace plus 32, Ty Gibbs minus 32. Going into Daytona, there's 1 spot remaining, no matter what happens. Bubba Wallace, really good at super speedways, right? But anything can happen at super speedways. I would not want to have everything on the line at Daytona, because you could crash, you could wreck, and that would ruin it. Ty Gibbs, he's a rookie. He's only been at Daytona once for the Daytona 500. He's been at Talladega once. He's only experienced these types of tracks twice, maybe 3, 4, maybe we'll give him 4 times, because Atlanta is kind of similar, but nothing like Daytona. So Ty Gibbs, 32 points out, going into Daytona. He's a rookie. Who knows what could happen? He could end up winning, but I'm not going to feel too confident. Rookies make rookie mistakes, and the one place where you can't afford a mistake is Daytona. Daniel Suarez, 43 points out. The only real path for him to point his way in is Bubba Wallace crashing and Ty Gibbs crashing. That's really the only path for Bubba Wallace to point his way in. It's looking like a must-win, but you never know. People can crash out at Daytona. Things can happen, and Daniel Suarez may end up in the playoffs. When I look at a guy like A.J. Allmendinger, he needs to point his way into the playoffs. He's 72 points out. He needs to point his way. I mean, he needs to win. He needs to win. There's no pointing his way in. Same thing with Alex Bowman, who's almost 100 points out. He needs a win. Both of those guys can do it, but they're not the only ones looking for a win. Chase Elliott today was looking good. He was running okay. And then, bam, the tires fail on him. Not the tires. The fuel goes out. It was a mistake by his crew chief. There's no one else to blame but his crew chief on that one. His crew chief, Alan Gustafson, whatever, thought that there was 3 laps left when he flips the switch for fuel, which there's an emergency switch. If he flips it, whatever. He flipped the emergency fuel switch, and there was not that many laps left. They ran out of fuel on the track, and bye-bye Chase Elliott. We're now looking at a situation where Chase Elliott is in a must-win. And it's not looking great going into Daytona. I'm sorry. He's a good super speedway racer, but the team has made too much mistakes. Your crew chief made a mistake today. The team has been a disaster all year long. And frankly, guys, even if Chase Elliott makes the playoffs, I don't see him as a threat in them. He's ran absolutely horrid this entire year. And I know part of that has to do with his injury. But even if Chase Elliott makes the playoffs this year, I'm not seeing him as a threat. Maybe you are, but I'm not seeing him as a threat at all. I think he's a first-round casualty if he makes the playoffs. I think he's taking a spot up in the playoffs that could be someone else's that maybe deserves it a little more, like a Daniel Suarez or a Bubba Wallace, who actually has had a solid year. So that's kind of my opinions. I don't see Chase Elliott doing it. But there's other guys like Austin Dillon, who, again, probably doesn't deserve the spot at all. But they're all looking to win and point their way in, and maybe it could be a surprise winner, like Justin Haley, or someone like that, who could run well and make the playoffs. Anybody can make the playoffs. It doesn't matter where the heck you land on it. So we'll be watching next week pretty good at that point. All right, let's switch gears and look at the finishing results. William Byron won the race, huge win, basically locks himself the regular season championship in 15 extra playoff points. Huge. Denny Hamlin finished second. The other guy that was in the running for those 15 points just didn't have it, runner-up. But, again, a team that has been very, very, very solid the last few weeks. I haven't seen a bad race out of Denny Hamlin in a while. That team has been extremely solid. But could there be distractions on his mind? We talked about that in the video a little bit before. Christopher Bell, his teammate, very fast in that 20 car today. One of the fastest cars on track for the majority of the race. He finishes third. A.J. Allmendinger thought he could have it. Now he's in a must-win situation. He finished fourth. Just couldn't capitalize as much as he needed to on that lone restart. Ty Gibbs finished fifth today. A good finish for the rookie, but still needs a little more. Martin Truex Jr. in sixth. Chris Buescher in 7th. Tyler Reddick kind of ran 8th all day. Not a lot out of him. Ryan Blaney in 9th. Joey Logano in 10th. Todd Gilling was running top 10. Had to cut off the pace a little bit to save a lot of fuel. He ends up finishing 11th. Really solid run. Bubba Wallace was running solid all day. We mentioned this last week. I thought he was going to be in trouble. I thought he might lose his playoff spot. But he ran solid all day. He did what he had to do, and he finished 12th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 13th. Kyle Busch and a lot of other drivers, including Bubba Wallace, kind of just got, they got in a really tough spot. A caution came out, and they just weren't on pit road in time, had to pit under caution, and it sent them to the back end of the field. So, tough for Kyle Busch, but he ends up rallying for 14th place. He had a fast car. Same thing with Brad Keselowski. Had a rally and finishes 15th. Notable finishers outside of this top 15. I want to talk about Kyle Larson and then the 3-car of Austin Dillon. They got into a little tussle at the end of the race. We're not sure what happened yet, but all of a sudden the two of them are running neck and neck, and bam, they crash. So, interesting to see what is all about that. Alright, let's wrap this race up with hit the gas or hit the brakes. Guys, I know you're already figuring what I'm going to say, but this racetrack is a weird one. It really is. It's a weird one for me. I like the intensity of the restarts and what we had at the beginning of this race. It was intense. Watkins Glen is my favorite road course. And I know you guys are going to be like, I hate road courses. I do too. And this one was, again, not thrilling. I'm not trying to be mean. At times it was thrilling. Restarts were absolutely insane. 4, 3 wide. And they kept the cars driving. That was awesome. It was awesome. But it didn't last forever because nothing good can. And so we got into a run, and I would say with 40 to go, as soon as stage 2 is over, we already knew who was going to win this race. We already knew William Byron was going to be the winner. It was a stunk-up show, and I mean, there was some exciting moments, but for the most part, this race, while it wasn't too chaotic, had some great moments, just didn't hit the mark needed. And we knew who was going to win at lap 40, and I don't like that. We didn't get the intense strategy that we'd love to see at Watkins Glen. We didn't get the, oh, we could have run out of fuel, we could do this. We never got that. And that's something that I love at Watkins Glen. So I'm going to hit the brakes for the second week in a row and have to give this race another C-. While there were some exciting moments and some great racing at times, there was also never that moment of strategy, or there was never some, I know I like chaos. There was some of it, but we didn't get enough of it, and we knew who the winner was going to be at the end of stage 2. And that's never exciting when you go for 40 laps knowing who the winner is going to be. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comment section down below. If you like this video, hit that like button. And until the next one, I'm Cameron Simpson, and peace out.